Hey everyone, Elizabeth here. The Last Laugh delivers stories that leave you speechless. If you're here for it, hit subscribe and let's go.
I'd been at the office for 11 hours working on a critical server migration. All I wanted was to get home, microwave some leftovers, and collapse on my couch. It was 9:47 p.m. when I pulled into the driveway of my house, the 3-bedroom ranch I bought 18 months ago with my own money, in my own name. The porch light was on, which was odd. I always turned it off before leaving for work. Then I saw my parents sitting on the porch swing. At nearly 10 o'clock at night. "Dad, what are you doing here?" I walked up the steps, keys in hand. Mom stood up, her face set in that expression I knew too well. The one that said she'd made a decision and expected everyone to comply. "We need to talk, Kevin." "Okay, let's talk inside." "It's cold out here." I moved toward the door and stopped. New locks. Shiny silver deadbolts that definitely weren't there this morning. What's going on? I looked at my key, then at the door, then at my parents. Dad stood up too, hands in his pockets. "Son, we've made a decision. This is our house now," I blinked. "Excuse me?" "We raised you here," Dad continued. "Well, not in this exact house, but we raised you. That means something. We gave you life, provided for you, sacrificed for you. Now we need a place to live, and you have this big house all to yourself. It only makes sense." My brain struggled to process what I was hearing. "This is my house. I bought it. My name is on the deed." Mom stepped forward. "Technically, yes, but morally." "Kevin, we're your parents. We're getting older. Our apartment is too expensive. This house has 3 bedrooms. You only use one. We're moving into the other 2. It's already decided. You can't just decide to move into my house," I said slowly, trying to stay calm. "We already have," Mom said. "We hired a locksmith this afternoon. Changed all the locks. We moved our essential belongings in while you were at work. The rest is coming tomorrow." "Mom!" I stared at them. "You broke into my house and changed the locks." "Don't be dramatic," Dad said. "We didn't break in. We had a professional locksmith do it properly. And it's not like you were using those extra bedrooms anyway. You should be happy now, you won't be lonely." I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. "What are you doing?" Mom's voice went sharp. "Calling the police. You broke into my house. We're your parents." Mom grabbed for my phone, but I stepped back. The dispatcher answered. 911. "What's your emergency?" "I've come home to find my house has been broken into, the locks changed, and the perpetrators are currently on my property. I'm the legal owner of the residence at 1847 Maple Drive. Sir, are you in danger?" "The perpetrators are my parents," I said, watching Mom's face go pale. "They've illegally changed the locks and moved belongings into my house without permission. I need officers here to remove them and document the break-in. Officers are en route. Stay on the line and remain outside the residence." Mom was shaking her head. "You're calling the police on your own parents? Over a house?" "Over you committing multiple felonies," I corrected. "Breaking and entering, illegal eviction, trespassing, probably theft depending on what you did with my belongings." "Your belongings are fine," Dad said. "We just moved some things around to make room for our stuff. Everything's in the garage." "You moved my furniture into the garage." "The stuff in the spare bedrooms, yes. You weren't using it anyway." 2 police cruisers pulled up within 8 minutes. 4 officers emerged, and I recognized one of them, Officer Patricia Chun. I'd helped the police department with their IT infrastructure last year during a pro bono project. "Kevin?" Officer Chun approached. "You called about a break-in?" "My parents changed the locks on my house while I was at work and moved themselves in. They reclaiming they own it now because they raised me here, which isn't even true since I grew up in a different house." "Entirely." Officer Chun turned to my parents. "Is this accurate?" Mom drew herself up. "Officer, this is a family matter. Kevin is overreacting. We're his parents. We have a right to live with him if we need to." "Ma'am, that's not how property law works," Chun said. "Whose name is on the deed to this property?" "His," Dad admitted. "But, no buts," Chun's partner, Officer Marcus Rodriguez, said. "If he's the legal owner and you changed the locks without permission, that's breaking and entering." "Did you have his permission?" Silence. I asked a question, Rodriguez repeated. Did Kevin give you permission to change the locks and move into his house? We didn't ask, Mom said quietly. We knew he'd say no if we asked. He's selfish like that. Chun pulled out her notepad. So you knowingly entered property you don't own, changed the locks to prevent the legal owner from accessing his own home, and moved belongings in without the owner's permission or knowledge. When you put it like that, it sounds bad, Dad said. That's because it is bad, Rodriguez said. It's also illegal. Multiple counts.
Then I opened my banking app and looked at the payment schedule I'd set up. The remaining $28,500, the final 50%, was set to auto-transfer at 8 p.m. tonight, right before the dinner service. The hotel had been clear, no final payment, no dinner service. The deposit covered the venue and setup, but the food, the bar, the music, all of that required the second payment. My finger hovered over the payment. I could cancel it. Right now. Could walk away and let Marcus figure out his own celebration. But this wasn't about Marcus. It was about Mom and Dad. They deserved their party. I approved the payment early, setting it to transfer at 6 p.m. instead. Better to have it done before guests arrived. Then I texted Marcus, something came up. Can't make it tonight. Tell Mom and Dad I love them. Congratulations. His response came in seconds. Are you serious? Family photos are starting in 10 minutes. Vanessa added, Jessica, this is so typical of you. Always making things difficult. Marcus again, whatever. We'll explain you had work commitments. People will understand. I turned off my phone, walked out of the ballroom, and headed toward the hotel lobby. The late afternoon sun streamed through the tall windows. Guests were starting to arrive, dressed in cocktail attire, carrying wrapped gifts. Ms. Wilson. I turned to find Thomas Bennett, the venue manager I'd been working with for months. He was a tall man in his 50s with silver hair and a kind face. Mr. Bennett. Everything looks perfect. Thanks to you. He smiled. I wanted to catch you before the event. The final payment came through an hour ago. Everything's confirmed for this evening. Good. That's good. He tilted his head, studying me. Are you leaving? The celebration hasn't started yet. Family photos, I said vaguely. I'm not really a photo person. Understanding flickered across his face. In our months of communication, Thomas had probably pieced together that I was funding an event I wasn't being credited for. He was too professional to say anything, but I saw the sympathy in his eyes. Well, if you change your mind, you're welcome back anytime. This is your event as much as anyone's. Thank you, but I think I'll head home. Enjoy the evening, Mr. Bennett. I made it to my car in the parking garage before the tears came. Not sobs. Just quiet tears of exhaustion. Exhaustion from always being the family afterthought. From being good enough to solve their problems but not good enough to sit at their table. I drove home to my apartment, a beautiful 2-bedroom loft in the Arts District that I purchased 2 years ago, cash. Another thing my family didn't know about. They thought I rented a studio somewhere. I changed into comfortable clothes, ordered Thai food, and settled into work on a client project. Design work had always been my refuge. When I was creating, I wasn't the disappointing daughter or the weird single sister. I was just good at what I did. My phone buzzed with notifications I didn't check. Around 7:30 p.m., it started ringing. Marcus. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. Vanessa. Again. Marcus. Again. A number I didn't recognize. At 7:47 p.m., there were 12 missed calls. I finally checked the voicemails. The first was from Marcus, voice tight, Jess, call me back. Now. There's a problem with the payment. The second was from Vanessa, Jessica, I don't know what you did, but the hotel is saying there's an issue with the final payment. They're threatening to shut down the dinner service. Call me. The third was from the unknown number. Thomas Bennett, Ms. Wilson, this is Thomas from the Ashford Grand. Your brother is insisting there's been a mistake with the payment. He's asking me to run a different card, but it's declined. We need to resolve this before dinner service at 8. Please call me when you can. I set the phone down and took a long breath. The payment had gone through. I'd confirmed it myself. The hotel had my money. What Marcus was probably trying to do was replace my payment with his own card, finally trying to actually pay for the event he'd been taking credit for, and discovering he didn't have $28,500 available. My phone rang again. This time, it was Dad. I answered. Hi, Dad. Jessica. His voice was strained. Where are you? Home. I told Marcus I couldn't make it. We need you here. There's been some kind of mix-up with the payment. The hotel manager is saying that someone named, he paused, paper rustling. Jessica Wilson from Wilson Design Solutions made the payment, but that can't be right because Marcus handled everything. My heart pounded. Dad. Jessica, did you pay for this party? The question hung in the air. Yes, I said finally. I paid the deposit 4 months ago and the final payment this afternoon. The hotel has their money. There's no mix-up. Silence. Then, why? Because Marcus couldn't afford it. Because you couldn't afford it. Because I wanted you and Mom to have the celebration you deserved. But Marcus said he got a special discount. There was no discount, Dad. I paid $57,000 for this event. I arranged it to look like a business sponsorship so Marcus could save face. More silence. I could hear voices in the background, urgent and confused. Why didn't you tell us? Dad asked finally. Would it have mattered? I'm sitting behind a column because I'm not important enough for family photos. I'm the embarrassing single daughter with a little design hobby. Why would I tell you I was funding the whole thing? Jessica. Is Mom having a good time, Dad? Are you happy with the venue? Because that's all I wanted. I didn't need credit. I just wanted you to have your party. Your brother is here, Dad said, voice shaking. He wants to talk to you. There was fumbling, then Marcus's voice came through, sharp with panic. Jess, what the hell is going on? The manager is saying you paid for everything? That I've been lying about the payment? You weren't lying. You thought you'd arranged it. I just helped. Helped. His voice cracked. And now the manager is announcing that without your payment approval, the event shuts down. I approved the payment hours ago. You have your party, Marcus. That's not the point. He was shouting now. I could hear Vanessa in the background, her voice a high-pitched stream of panic. Everyone's asking questions. Dad's business partners want to know who Jessica Wilson is. My boss is here. This is humiliating. Then maybe you shouldn't have tried to replace my payment with a card that declined, I said quietly. The line went dead silent. You knew about that? Marcus's voice was small now. Thomas called me. Jess, please. Now he was begging. Please come here. Help me fix this. Tell them it was a joint thing. That we planned it together. No. What? I said no, Marcus. I'm not going to drive down there and rescue you from your own ego. You wanted the credit. You got it. Now you deal with the questions. You're really going to do this to me? To Mom and Dad on their anniversary? I'm not doing anything to Mom and Dad. They have their party. The food is paid for. The music is paid for. Everything is handled. What you're dealing with is the consequences of taking credit for something you didn't do. Vanessa grabbed the phone. Jessica, you are being so selfish right now. This is your parents' night. And they're going to have a beautiful night. You're the ones making it dramatic. Everyone's staring at us. The venue manager just announced, in front of everyone, that without Ms. Wilson's payment approval, dinner service wouldn't happen. Do you know how that looks? Like the truth, I said simply. You did this on purpose. You planned this whole thing to humiliate Marcus. Actually, Vanessa, I planned this whole thing to give my parents a nice anniversary party. The humiliation is just Marcus's natural consequence for being dishonest. I heard commotion in the background. Voices. Dad saying something stern. Then Mom's voice, Jessica, honey, is that you? My throat tightened. Hi, Mom. Come to the party, sweetheart. Please. We can sort all this out. I can't, Mom. I'm tired. I'm tired of being treated like I don't matter until someone needs something from me. You matter, do I? Because I was seated behind a column, Mom. Away from family photos. Because I'm the embarrassing single daughter who doesn't fit the image. I heard her breath catch. I didn't know about that. Of course you didn't. You never ask about my life. None of you do. You just assume I'm struggling along with my little design hobby, never thinking that maybe I'm actually successful. Maybe I'm actually doing really well. No. Jessica. I paid $57,000 for this party, Mom. That's what my little hobby earns me. I own my apartment. I have savings. I have a successful business. But nobody in this family has ever asked about any of it because you all decided years ago that I was the disappointment. Tears were streaming down my face now. So I'm not coming tonight. I'm not going to sit behind a column and watch everyone celebrate while pretending I don't exist. And I'm not going to rescue Marcus from his lie. You have your party. Enjoy it. I love you. I hung up before she could respond. The calls continued for another hour. 23 calls. 37 texts. I turned my phone to silent and finished my client work. Around 11 p.m., my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole. Dad stood there, still in his tuxedo, looking older than I'd ever seen him. I opened the door. You left your own party? It's winding down. Last dance was half an hour ago. He held up a takeout container. Brought you some cake. Red velvet. Your favorite. Despite everything, I smiled. Come in, Dad. We sat on my couch, my expensive, beautiful couch that I'd saved for months to buy, and he looked around my apartment for the first time. This is nice, he said finally. Really nice. Thanks. You bought it? 2 years ago. He nodded slowly. Your brother broke down tonight. After you hung up. He tried to explain to everyone that he arranged a family contribution, but couldn't produce any proof. People figured it out pretty quickly. I'm sorry it ruined the party. It didn't ruin anything. Dad set down the cake. Your mother and I had a wonderful time. The venue was perfect. The food was incredible. Everything you chose was exactly what we would have wanted. Good. But Jessica, why? Why pay for everything and hide it? I turned to face him. Because I knew if I offered openly, you'd either refuse it or Marcus would take over anyway. And because I wanted to do something nice without needing recognition. I just wanted you to be happy. We would have been happy at the Riverside Inn. Maybe. But you deserved the Ashford Grand. You deserved the best. Dad's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry we made you feel like you didn't matter. I'm sorry we've been so focused on Marcus's career and his life that we forgot to ask about yours. You didn't forget, Dad. You chose not to ask because you already decided I wasn't successful enough to bother with. He flinched but nodded. You're right. We did. And that's on us, not you. We sat in silence for a moment. Marcus is devastated, Dad said finally. Vanessa took their kids and left early. People have been calling him out on social media for taking credit for something he didn't do. That's not my fault. I know. And honestly? He needed the wake-up call. We all did. Dad reached over and took my hand. I'm proud of you, Jessica. Not because you paid for the party. Because you built something real, something meaningful, and you did it without needing our approval or our help. The words I'd been waiting years to hear. Thank you, I whispered. Your mother wants to have lunch with you next week. Just the two of you. No Marcus, no Vanessa. She wants to actually know you. The real you. I'd like that. Dad stood to leave, then paused at the door. For what it's worth, we took family photos without you. When we got them back and saw the empty space where you should have been, it felt wrong. Like we were missing the most important person. After he left, I sat in my quiet apartment and opened my phone. The family group chat had been silent for hours. Then a new message appeared. Marcus, Jessica, I'm sorry. For everything. You deserved better than how we treated you tonight, and every other time before that. I was wrong to take credit for what you did. I was wrong about a lot of things. Then Mom, sweetheart, your father told me about your apartment, your business, everything you've built. I'm so sorry we never asked. I love you. I didn't respond immediately. Some things needed time. But I saved Dad's text from later that night. The venue manager said you've been the easiest client he's ever worked with. Professional, kind, and generous. He said the events industry could use more people like you. Thought you should know that someone recognized your worth, even if we were too blind to see it. I fell asleep on my couch, in my apartment, in the life I'd built for myself. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like the family disappointment. I felt free. Have you ever been the invisible one in your family? The person who handles everything behind the scenes but never gets credit? Or have you finally stood up and stopped letting your family take you for granted? Share your story in the comments. Sometimes it helps to know we're not alone.